Hello all heroes and welcome back to Invincible Guarding the Globe. And today we are going to be going over the newest character in the game, Thula. I actually just wrapped up the video of me doing lots of recruitments that went very well. Go check out that video if you have not already. So, Thula is our latest brand new character and the 5th elite character of the From Worlds Beyond faction, meaning that the faction is officially complete. We still don't have a proper healer for From World Beyond, but I mean, we at least have 5 elite characters. You could at least make a full team, which, you know what, we'll take that. So, Thula is of course clocking in as an attacker of the From Worlds Beyond faction, with her tags being Viltrumites, melee, flying, attacker, and armed. I mean, yeah, technically armed. I mean, armed on her hair. I mean, at what point are you armed? And it's not a fashion statement, but I mean, hey, I suppose it's sharp. So, you know what? Fair enough. And she is clocking in, of course, a melee and a fast speed. So she's going to be fairly speedy. Looking at her skills here. First of all, we have I'll make this quick. Her main skill here at level 1, Thula uses her knife to attack and stab the target. That is traditionally how knives are used, dealing 150% of her base attack damage in total, while also applying the wound status that deals 200% of her attack damage over 10 seconds. So basically, quick stab that does a minor but decent amount of damage, but then it's the wound status that's really going to hit, because 10 seconds is a long time to have a wound status on you and be losing HP from that. If you do shoot up all the way to level 10, you get an increase of 200% of her base attack damage in the first stab, and then a 250% of her attack damage as the wound, with a cooldown decreased to 17 seconds. Not a massive one. If we're looking at a break point here, it goes down to 18 seconds once you get to 7, which is pretty okay. Probably if you're leveling up this skill, that's a decent break point. But the increases are not massive. I mean, the wound is pretty good. The wound boost is pretty dang good, but it's still nothing too crazy. Her Elite Plus ability here, A Lust for Death. Thula increases her attack by 50% for 5 seconds every time an ally or enemy Viltrumite dies in battle. And then at level 10, that is 100% for 7 seconds. So what does this mean? This factors in any other Viltrumite characters on her team or the enemy team. Let's not forget that Viltrumites tend to kill each other just as much as they kill you. So let's say you have Omni-Man on your team. If your Omni-Man dies, she gets the attack buff. If the enemy has an Omni-Man or an Invincible or another Thula, and that Omni-Man dies, she gets an attack buff. And it doesn't say that it has any like cooldown or stacking limitations. So let's say, for example, let's say you have her at level 10. So that's 100% attack power for 7 seconds, which is already kind of massive. Let's say the enemy Omni-Man and your Omni-Man die at the same time. I think that means she would get a 200% boost for 7 seconds, which just means she's going to mop the floor with freaking everybody. This skill, I think, would be worth powering up. It does go up to 6 seconds once you hit 7, so that's probably a pretty good break point, but honestly, I would love to see what happens if you get this up to level 10 and you throw in some Viltrumites that just drop like flies. What if... Okay, here's a thought. What if you put a team with Thula, surrounded by level 1 Omni-Men or Invincibles or other Thulas? They all drop immediately, obviously. Is that 7 seconds of her being the most busted attacker in the game? Little food for thought there. Little food for thought. Probably not practical, but could be really freaking funny. Anyways, and then her Epic Plus skill, Viltrumite Makes Right. This one is quirky for some unusual reasons. Every 20 seconds, Thula and Lucan attack the target with less HP using a combined movement that deals 200% damage and stuns the enemy for 1 second. If Luca... Oh wait, actually, you know what? I actually skipped an effect. That's my bad. Life Drainer is her exceptional plus. Thula's basic attacks against enemies with the wound status gain 30% lifesteal. That can go up to 75% at level 10. So a massive lifesteal buff there. And then, okay, now Viltrumite Makes Right. Had to just get through that other one. Thula and Lucan attack the target with less HP, using a combined movement that deals 200% damage and stuns the enemy for 1 second. If Lucan is in the same team, both heroes receive a 20% defense increase during 3 seconds after the attack. And then if we go up to level 10 here, at the beginning of the battle and every 18 seconds, Thula and Lucan attack, dealing 300% damage and stunning for 3 seconds. And then if Lucan is in the same team, both heroes receive a 40% defense increase for 5 seconds. So what's going on here? Okay, so first of all, if you get her up to, looks like level 6, which is actually a pretty early breakpoint, this effect will trigger, actually level 5, this effect will trigger at the beginning of battle as well as every 20 seconds. So that on its own is a pretty massive impact. And gets a stun. But you'll notice the second half here. If Lucan is in the same team, both heroes receive a defense buff. Lucan ain't in the game yet. So he basically just got shadow confirmed that he's going to be the next character, which means fine and dandy. I don't care. It's just a little quirky. I'm also going to guess that since Thula's getting a defense buff, Lucan's probably a defender Viltrumite, and maybe he'll get like a lifesteal or an attack buff from Thula with like a similar attack. I don't know. It's just kind of funny that they created a skill that synergizes with another character, but the character isn't in the game yet. It's not a big deal because all she's missing out on is a defense buff, which is pretty good, but doesn't change the fact that she can still just murder any enemy in her path. And this first half here still works just fine. I mean, she will still do a nice pile of damage and get the stun, and can do it at the beginning of the battle, which is pretty freaking cool, actually. So yeah, once Lucan is out, she'll get even more effects. But for now, still a nasty hit that can attack often and whip out some nice stuns. Your breakpoint here is of course going to be level 5, because that's when it triggers at the beginning of the battle. And then after that point, probably not the worst idea in the world to just take this straight up to level 10, because at level 10 it goes down to every 18 seconds. With a nice healthy 300% damage and stunning for 3 seconds. So looking at her skills, probably a Lust for Death and Viltrumite Makes Right are going to be her best stuff. This one is fascinating because this one will make her extremely hard to kill if her team is throwing around a lot of wounds. So we're talking characters like Battle Beast would throw around a lot of wounds, and any other character that can throw around wounds, this will give her an actual ton of lifesteal. I don't know if getting her all the way up to level 10 would be worth it though. Probably level 5, so it's at least 50% would probably be fine. Level 10 would probably be a little excessive, especially when you're thinking about a Lust for Death and Viltrumite Makes Right. But yeah, I think she's a fantastic character. As far as what I would give her for artifacts, there are some of the usual ones. Body enhancement is never a bad thing, because if you're running Guardians of the Globe characters on your team, extra crit chance is great. Cloaking device, also very good. Let her be just invisible so that she can do a ton of damage. If you have the Flaxen anti-aging bracelet, if you have it, it would probably be very helpful, because if she can reduce her main ability cooldown, then she can throw out more wounds more often, which would be pretty helpful, not gonna lie. This one, Mark Grayson's Earpiece. The first effect is an explosion that deals AoE damage, 50% of the target's attack power, nothing too crazy. But it does leave a damage over time effect, which I'm assuming means a wound, because that is what wound is. It's a damage over time. I'd have to actually see it in action to confirm for sure. But if that is the case, if this damage over time effect counts as a wound, this artifact could synergize beautifully with Thula. You could have it on her, you could have it on another hero, regardless, you're going to want a bunch of wounds. Other characters that can, of course, give wounds. Battle Beast here is going to be the biggie. His main attack here, it consumes wounds, but that's not too big of a deal, because if you take a look at Bring the Pain, his basic attacks just straight up apply wounds that can be stacked a bunch, so he's just constantly going to be doing it. I am trying to remember for the life of me who else does wounds. I feel like there's other characters. I know Rexplode does wounds, but that would imply that you actually have a Rexplode powered up. Well, I mean, I guess it says they get burnt. I don't know if that actually counts. See, there's different types of AoEs. It's hard to tell if they all count as the same thing or not. Do I have... Is there a Rexplode I could fight somewhere? We're just doing a little test run here. There's a Rexplode. Let's see. Let's see if you wound my peeps. I should put you back there. Let's see what this Rexplode does. I think he will last long enough. We just need to make sure to see when the debuff actually hits. Oh, there's one. There's one. What does it count as? It says just says damage over time. I guess that is not the same thing as wound, unfortunately. So you're going to be wanting someone that specifically says wound. Battle Beast probably being the best one. It is unfortunate that his main ability does eat the wounds a bit, but his basic attacks also just constantly apply wounds. So I guess probably Mark Grayson's earpiece wouldn't actually do anything either, unfortunately. It would be cool if it would, but I guess there is a little bit of a difference between damage over time and a true wound, per se. Oh, okay, so Angstrom, if you unlock his Epic Plus ability, he applies a wound. Only on his ultimate there, but that does count for something. Then again, you'll probably just want to run him on Maulers anyway. We're just kind of checking real quick here to see if I'm missing anybody. So, like I said, Battle Beast probably going to be the best one, the best teammate for Thula, and of course you're going to want other Viltrumites so that if and when they fall, she gets a nice, tasty attack buff. Nothing crazy there. Actually, what was that? Okay, that's just a damage hit. That's not a wound per se. Okay, yeah, I think that's all we got for now. Did you don't apply any debuffs or anything except for your Thunderstruck ability. Okay, cool. So yeah, that is where we are at with Thula. I think that she is great. I'm very curious to see what Lucan will do whenever he gets added. Since again, like I said, he kind of got Shadow confirmed. I would love to see Thula with her upgrades. She is one that could get especially interesting with Viltrumite Makes Right and a Lust for Death. You could probably skip I'll Make This Quick or at least hit an early breakpoint. The damage isn't too crazy. Life Drainer, maybe. Life Drainer could get interesting. Especially pairing it with some other stuff, making it so that she gets a lot of healing. But yeah, let me know what you think of Thula down in the comments below, and we shall see you next time. Have a good one.